Welcome, Stuart.
Hi, Hajar. Nice to see you.
Very nice to see you as well. Thank you so much for being here. Stuart, I would say let's hop right into the nitty-gritty of it, because can you tell us a bit more about New Zealand's energy transition? Where are you sort of tracking right now in that development?
Sure. Look, that's fundamentally top of mind in my current role.
Right.
So New Zealand's in a slightly unusual position in the fact that we've historically had an awful lot of renewable energy in our country. We are blessed with wind, water, so we are tracking at about 90% renewable electricity for our grid,
right.
88-90%. So we've been at that space for some time. Where we are still struggling for is perhaps getting additional electrification into our grid to perhaps drive some of our industrial space where we need more, and how we can improve in the transport. And those are some of the challenges for us, I think, as we move forward in our energy transition.
Yeah.
But we do start with an unusually high level of renewable energy in New Zealand. The challenge is, how do you go beyond 100%? How do you actually turn it into a world? New Zealand's known for its exports of proteins. That's what we specialise in, and food. How do we become an exporter of electrons?
Yeah.
And I think for us, that's the next challenge, is moving that beyond the sort of 90% into the 100% and beyond.
I love how you say, indeed, I love the ambition set to go even beyond the 100% right there, right? And I mean, that's something we hear all around sort of these ambitious targets. I mean, mobilizing capital, I mean, it's important for every country also to reach those ambitious goals. How would you say that, what is New Zealand doing to sort of attract investments into the energy transition?
Well, that's a very timely question. So the government has set a target of doubling renewable energy, and obviously to do that you need significant international investment. So we recently just held an infrastructure investment summit chaired by our Prime Minister, where one of the key stories was about that importance of investing in renewable energy. Now, we understand as a government you don't just sit there and say, please come and invest in our country, because it's a lot more complex than that. You need to make sure that the regulations in place, your Overseas Investment Act, is managed in an appropriate way. You have double taxation agreements in place. You have all those fundamental building blocks that we are working on, that you fast track the consents. We currently, for example, have about 30% of additional renewable energy capacity going through a consenting pipeline at the moment, and we are fast tracking that. We're trying to get more, and fundamentally for us is, how do we do that through attracting international partners who can bring their technological expertise, their know-how to work in New Zealand and help grow that.
Yeah, but I mean, Stuart, if I listen to you, I mean, first of all, indeed, the versatile and sort of diverse, almost geographical landscape of New Zealand, it blesses indeed with a lot of sort of like access to renewable resources in that sense. At the same time, you're very sharp on like sort of what is the regulatory atmosphere that you then need to have in place. If I'm an investor, I would think, why not invest in New Zealand? Isn't it like I think it's a very good case, right?
Well, I mean, you're making my arguments for me. But look, I mean, it is one of our advantages. We traditionally come up as ranked in the sort of global things as one of the easiest countries in the world to do business. We've got a good taxation system. We have very skilled workers. We enjoy many Germans come to New Zealand and stay, which has been great. We have a working holiday scheme. The number of young Germans that find their way to New Zealand and succeed is fantastic to see.
Cool. Yeah.
So for us, green tech has been an area that we have consistently prioritised in terms of how we can, and not just in the agri-tech space, which is a traditional strength for us, but increasingly in more diverse areas like geothermal, where we're increasingly thinking, what can we do to lead the world in those kind of spaces?
Can you tell me more about that? Because indeed, New Zealand has been making a lot of bold moves when it comes to geothermal energy, or even sort of like exploring the potential of supercritical geothermal. Like, what are sort of like the next steps for New Zealand in its development? And can you tell us a bit more about why this technology is so promising?
Sure. I mean, obviously, one of the unique characteristics of New Zealand is we are on the Pacific Rim. Therefore, we have a more active geological situation than you have in Germany. That means we have geothermal power. And that's become an increasing element of our energy story. It provides about 25% of our electricity for the grid. What we're now looking to do is the supercritical geothermal, where you go much deeper. So we're talking about going down to about 3 kilometres below, where we think the energy is going to be significantly more intense. And this is your base load energy. This is your consistent energy supply that you can provide. Obviously, once you get it up and running, it's not like you're paying for anything other than getting it out of the ground. So we're investing quite significantly. We're working with international partners with expertise, such as the Japanese about how we get this done and how we can bring this on board. And this is a 5 to 10 year play rather than something we'll do next year. But for us, we see this as another area where we can really generate some quality renewable energy that can just, again, take the next things forward. That's how you drive your AI data centers that people need to, which is so hungry in power. That's how you drive.
That's the thing. We have a very big quest for it in the world.
Green
all
hydrogen.
Around.
All these elements. If you're going to drive green hydrogen, you need renewable energy, and I suppose that is probably one of those things that we're offering in New Zealand, is how we take that forward.
You see the potential of it. Those are some interesting and promising things also for us all, I would say, to keep an eye out on. I want to thank you so much. Thank you so much, Stuart, for sharing the New Zealand perspective.
Thank you.
Give him a big round of applause, everyone.